The invitation arrived in a cream envelope with gold foil edges, the kind of stationery nobody uses anymore, unless they mean business. Inside was a single card, handwritten in Evelyn Harper's careful, looping script. You are cordially invited to Grandma's Reconciliation Game Night, Saturday, October 18th, 7 p.m. sharp. Harper Residence, 1427 Willow Lane. Dress comfortable. Bring your appetite and your best smile. No excuses accepted. Love, Grandma Evie. Jordan stared at the card for a long minute before tossing it onto the kitchen counter like it was contaminated. "She's lost it," he muttered. His wife, Claire, picked it up and read it twice. "She hasn't spoken to us in 4 months, not since the wedding pictures went up. Now this?" Jordan rubbed the back of his neck. "She's probably drunk on nostalgia and wants to guilt-trip us into visiting more. Classic manipulation." Claire's mouth tightened. "Or she's finally ready to apologize for cutting us off. We're drowning, Jordan. The startup burned through the last of her seed money 3 months ago. Rent's 2 weeks late. We can't keep pretending we're fine." Jordan looked at the ceiling as if answers were written there. "Fine, we go. We play nice, we get her to open the checkbook again. One night of Monopoly and forced smiles. How bad can it be?" They had no idea. Evelyn Harper had spent the previous week preparing like a general before a decisive battle. She was 78, 5'2" in her stocking feet, silver hair pinned in a neat chignon, and eyes the color of storm clouds over Lake Michigan. For 30 years, she had been the quiet engine behind her late husband's hardware empire, the woman who balanced the books while Harold shook hands and told stories. When Harold died at 69, everyone assumed Evelyn would fade. Instead, she tripled the company's value in the next decade, sold at the peak, and retired with more money than most small towns see in a lifetime. She had only one child, her daughter Laura, who died in a car accident at 34. Laura's son, Jordan, had been 16 then. Evelyn raised him through the rest of high school, college, and the first shaky years of adulthood. She paid for the business degree, the apartment in Chicago, the wedding to Claire, a tasteful but expensive affair at the country club. And then, when Jordan decided to disrupt the home improvement space with an app called Fix It Fast, she wrote the first check, and the second, and the third. Over 6 years, she funneled $1.87 million into the company. Not loans, gifts. She never asked for equity, never demanded updates, never complained when the quarterly reports showed red ink the color of fresh blood. Then came the Vegas wedding. Jordan and Claire had eloped on a whim during a team-building retreat in Nevada. No notice, no invitation, just Instagram stories of champagne toasts and a justice of the peace in a sequined cowboy hat. When Evelyn saw the pictures, posted publicly, tagged with laughing emojis, she had sat at her kitchen table for 3 hours without moving. The next morning, she transferred the final $50,000 she had earmarked for the next round of funding back into her own high-yield savings. Then she changed her phone number, her email password, and the locks on the house Jordan still had a key to. 4 months of silence followed, until the invitations. Saturday evening arrived crisp and gold, the maple trees along Willow Lane turning the color of fire. Jordan and Claire pulled into the circular drive in their leased Audi Q5, the last visible remnant of better months. Claire wore a burgundy wrap dress she hadn't taken out of the closet since the company Christmas party 2 years ago. Jordan had on the navy blazer he used for investor pitches. Both of them smelled faintly of anxiety and expensive cologne. Evelyn greeted them at the door wearing a soft gray cashmere sweater and pearls. She looked 20 years younger than she had any right to. "Jordan, Claire, come in, come in. It's chilly out there." She hugged them both, briefly, politely, and ushered them into the living room. The house smelled of cinnamon, roasted garlic, and something faintly metallic underneath, like old coins. The dining table had been extended to seat 10, though only 3 places were set. In the center stood an elaborate tiered tray of finger sandwiches, deviled eggs, miniature quiches, and a crystal bowl of blood-red punch. But it was the far end of the table that caught their attention. A second table, smaller, round, covered in green baize, had been set up like a professional gaming station. 4 chairs, 4 stacks of poker chips in 4 different colors, a dealer's shoe, a bell, and most strangely, 4 small brass nameplates: HURDAN, Claire, Evelyn, Guest. Jordan frowned and said, "Guest?" Evelyn smiled. "You'll see." She poured punch into cut glass cups. It tasted like cranberry and vodka and something faintly bitter underneath, like old coins. "Sit, please," she said. "We'll eat in a moment. First, the rules." Claire laughed nervously. "Rules? Grandma, we thought this was just dinner, a chance to talk." "Oh, we will talk," Evelyn said, "but talking hasn't worked very well lately, has it? So tonight we play games. Old games, new rules. Winner takes all." Jordan's eyebrows lifted. "Takes all what?" Evelyn reached into the pocket of her cardigan and produced a single sheet of paper. She laid it on the table. It was a cashier's check, made out to Jordan Harper, for $750,000. Claire sucked in a breath so sharply she almost choked. Jordan stared. "Grandma." "Sit," Evelyn repeated. They sat. She continued. "The check is real. It's certified. It's yours if you win the night." Jordan's mouth opened, closed. "And if we don't?" "Then you leave with nothing but what you came with, and we never speak again. Not about money, not about anything." Claire's hand trembled as she reached for the check. Evelyn gently placed her own hand on top of it. "Not yet, dear." The doorbell rang. Evelyn rose gracefully. "That will be our 4th player." She returned moments later with a tall, thin man in his late 50s, salt and pepper hair, wire-rimmed glasses, a quiet gray suit. He carried a leather portfolio under his arm. "Jordan, Claire, this is Marcus Reed, my estate attorney." Jordan felt the room tilt. "My what?" Marcus offered a polite smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Mrs. Harper asked me to witness tonight's proceedings and ensure everything is legally binding." "Legally binding?" Claire echoed. Evelyn gestured to the empty chair. "Mr. Reed will play as my proxy. He's quite good at games of chance, and he knows the value of a signature." Marcus sat. He placed the portfolio on the table and opened it just enough for Jordan to glimpse a thick stack of documents inside. Evelyn rang the little bell. "Game 1, Childhood Memory. We each draw a card from the deck. The card has a year written on it, and the player must tell a true story from that year involving Grandma Evie. Most honest, most detailed story wins the round. Winner takes the pot." She produced a small tin box filled with folded cards. Jordan laughed once, sharp and hard. "You're serious?" "As a silent heart attack," Evelyn replied. She drew first. 2012. She looked at Jordan. "You were 24, fresh out of college. You moved into that terrible studio on Halston, the one with the radiator that hissed like a snake. I drove up every weekend with groceries because you were living on ramen and Red Bull." Jordan shifted. "Yeah, I remember." "Your turn, Jordan. Draw." He pulled 2005. He swallowed. "I was 9, 10? You took me to the Shed Aquarium. I wanted to see the beluga whales. We stood there for an hour. You told me they were singing to each other across the ocean. I believed you." Evelyn's expression softened for the first time. "You cried when we had to leave. You said you wanted to live inside the tank forever." Marcus drew 1998. He cleared his throat. I didn't know Mrs. Harper then, but I can tell you she paid for my law school tuition, full ride, no strings. She said she believed in second chances. I was 31, divorced, working nights at a gas station. That check changed my life. Claire stared at him. Evelyn patted his hand. Your story counts, Marcus. Honesty is honesty. Claire drew 2019. She hesitated. That was the year we got engaged. You threw us an engagement party at the lake house. You rented the whole dock. There were lanterns, fireworks. You gave a speech about how love was the only thing worth building a life around. Evelyn nodded slowly. I meant every word. Silence settled over the table. Evelyn spoke quietly. I vote for Marcus.